All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trade. Today's Friday, March 3rd, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into the markets here. So, rally on our hands, up 1.5% there on the Spiders. Qs up 2%, and the Dow up 1. Russell 2000 also having a nice day there as well. So, we talked about this yesterday, and here's the SPX there. I do think we're probably going to stall out here at 40.50. There's a big gamma wall sitting there. But SPX getting a bounce again, so that's second day in a row. And a nice bid, 200 moving average defense there. On the daily time frame, we talked about this yesterday. I said, like, in the morning, I caught that YouTube short video, and I said, look, this looks a little, especially on the futures, looks like the bears are just a little tired down here. You have this kind of move down where it kind of just grinded down. You have these kind of diverging lows, like lower lows, lower highs, but no real conviction there. And in order to get through, a big support area like that, like the 200 and 100 moving average necktie there, you're going to probably need another lower high, which I think market is poised to set up to do right now. One of the things that this kind of reminds me of very much is, in fact, there's a couple of them, but instances last year where it was very much like this April kind of move down where we just kind of backed off. A lot of people here, including myself to a degree, I thought we were going to rally up and then kind of zigzag and then head lower. So this pullback here looked just like a pullback, right? And then we got a nice bounce, and then we got rejected really hard. Same thing in before Jackson Hole. We had just a pullback, right? It's just a little retrace here, nothing crazy. We did have a pretty good sell on this day here, but then it bounced up and we got rejected hard. This one here, we went to the 390 area and we squeezed hard for 4 days into the CPI and we got rejected hard. I'm seeing a very similar setup here into next week. Not only that, but the reason why it's so similar is we have Powell on Tuesday. This was Jackson Hole here. This was CPI. It's very similar kind of setup. And I talked about this yesterday as well. If we are up, nicely again today, like we obviously are, we'd expect, I would think Monday would probably be kind of quiet, maybe just kind of like a pause day, maybe a tight range. But Tuesday, I think we're set up for a pretty big move here. And I do think we get rejected here. It's a nice rally here. It's a nice bounce off the lows. It was needed. I think the bears need we'd need a lower high setup here. In order to break it down. It was just too oversold here on the smaller time frames, especially daily, hourly. You're starting to get diverged there. Just those lower lows. So we do need one more lower high here, but I do think we get rejected hard. This is a nice little impressive bounce, but remember that can happen in bear markets. So be very careful here moving forward. Honestly, if you're not short now, here's a little. I would take this as a gift. I mean, 405, 408, you get up into that range, this market is in lots of trouble here. So nice bounce. We'll give it its due here. They're defending the 200 MA, but again, we have failed patterns here on the weekly, and I'm going to go with the weekly time frame before anything or over anything here, but nice bounce here. What else can you say? So nice little bid there for the markets. Let's look at the triple Qs. Again, up 2%. We are, basically touching that 20 moving average there. We'll see what the Qs do on Monday. There is a micro gap at 301.16. It's not that far away. And then you have a gap up here at 303.30. So we'll see, maybe those get filled here. It's certainly possible. Let's take a fib there as well. So again, there you go, 301.20. That's your 50%. We'll see how the NASDAQ responds here going into next week. But again, Powell talking on Tuesday, and we're basically pricing in dovish Powell. We'll see if he is dovish. He was dovish last time, but that was before the ISM data. That was before all the jobs data we've had. So either way, we'll see what we get next week. Let's look at the Russell again. That is up 1.5%. So you are getting above that red bar. So that is a positive here for the Russell. Again, I still think this is topped out, and I do expect a lower high. I don't think we get back up to 195. If we do, it'll be a nominal high here, but we'll give it the Russell its due. You're getting above that 20 moving average right now. It is pulling back just a little bit here in the final 45 minutes or so. But again, nice bounce there on the Russell, just like everything else. Dow here via the diamond. Again, we talked about that going basically into kind of a double bottom. That's going to have some resistance at the 20 and 50 MA necktie. You also have that red bar high and this upsloping trend line. So those are possible levels here to watch on the Dow. Let's just get that exact there. So right into that area, that's going to be a good test there for the Dow. We'll see what it does. Again, this is another reason why I think we stall Monday. We're kind of just, I mean, we're basically up 100 points. Yesterday we hit 39.25. We were up over 100 points now. So definitely a big surge there for the markets when you are coming to some levels there. But anyways, I think it's all about next Tuesday. All right, over to semis, SMH here. Nice bid again, just like everything else. Getting a pop. Look at the volume here, very light. Let's take a look at the spiders. I didn't comment on that yet. Very light volume here today, just 65 million shares looks like. Yeah, 65 million, so a light volume rally. SMH here. Yeah, reclaiming the 20 moving average. Again, I talked about this the other day. I think 250 is probably your max move, maybe, 248, 250. There is this little trend line right there that, was resistance before. We kind of got above it, chopped around, and then broke back below it. So we'll see what it does on a back test there. But yeah, possible head and shoulder. If we roll over here, watch out for that on the SMH. IGV still holding up, still doing nicely after CRM's earnings. So let's take a look at CRM again. Yeah, it's basically backing and filling a little bit here, but a pretty big gap up, and it's for the most part holding the gains there. Again, IGV now back above the 20 moving average, but remember again, we did close below that pivot there, so that does show a little bit of weakness here. We're saving, they saved that green bar, which is at 276.69, so it's holding up for now. But again, not a really strong chart here, and I mean, honestly, we could make a case here that this is just kind of a big bear flag here. So again, just take a look at the big picture there. Cloud is trying to rally here, but I think this wants to put in one more lower high as well. Dow Transport, so that got above this red bar high as well, so nice strength there. That's above the 20 moving average, and you're into this gap here. I think this wants to go to 15,300. So right around that area there is going to be resistance. We'll take a look at that on Monday. Maybe you can put, bid up one more day. It's got a little ways to go to get there. If it gets through that, I think I had 15.6, or excuse me, 15.5 as resistance if it gets through that. But again, nice pounce there for the DJT, so we'll respect it for now. All right, let's go over to interest rates. So again, the 2-year finally getting a bid here. Again, remember we pierced that double bottom yesterday, and I said if this gets a bid, it might result in a little bit of a relief rally for the markets, and we're seeing something like that right now. The thing is, though, and I talked about this yesterday, here's where Bostic made his comments. Right, well, actually, it was right around here, right in this area, and here's where we are on the 2-year. So it's up. And we look at the spiders. This is where Bostic made his comments, and this is where we are. So bonds are telling you that there's nothing to this rally. It's just totally hot air. It's algos, it's retail, chasers, etc. So again, do not neglect bonds here. The 10-year is getting a nice bid, basically reversed yesterday's move, but again, not a strong chart. It is a weak chart here. ZB, same thing. So nice reversal there today. Let's look at the yield. Yeah, nice little bounce there, bounce off of that area, and that's the target I talked about way back here. I said bonds might be, or yields might be a short if we can get up to that 40-45 area. We finally got to that area, so we're getting a pullback, but we've already kind of gotten to it. So I'm expecting a higher low here, and then a move higher for bonds. So again, you see the 10-year, same thing. They defended that 4% area. It's back below it. So we'll give it that for now. But if this puts in a higher low, it's going to go much, much higher here, which I do expect to happen. Let's look at HYG as well. HYG getting a bid here, still in the lower area, lower range of this channel. In fact, we've damaged this pretty good here. Let's look on the weekly. Yeah, so you've closed below that already once. Again, maybe it's a little oversold in the short term, needs to bounce a little bit, but this is not a good chart. Look at the monthly. That's a bearish inside bar on the monthly. So bonds, again, sounding the alarms. Equities aren't paying attention, but they will be very soon. Anyways, let's get over to housing. XHB continues to be resilient here, so that's above the 20 moving average. Again, you'll probably have resistance around 70 and change. We'll call it 70.50 there on the daily time frame. ITB, A little bit on the weaker side, you're feeling that gap, not above the 20 MA. Again, resistance still remains the same. There's a gap fill right there. And again, right around 70, right around that 70 handle. These ETFs are very, very similar. VNQ here, so general real estate. Again, that's testing its 50-day moving average. Still a weak chart. Looks a lot like HYG. Again, we got that close below it, kind of violating that trend line a little bit. We bounced off of this area, and now we're getting a bid here. This will have resistance around 88.50. So 88.73, 88.75. You got the 200 moving average, and you've got these pivots right there. That's where you broke down from. So that's your back test level if we can get up there. I mean, this is definitely a weak chart, so don't take anything for granted. Over to fins. So nice bid here, up 1.5% on the day for financials. Credit Suisse, I will bet you any amount of money that it's going to come out over the weekend. They got another currency swap because it's up, basically negated that that breakdown yesterday. I didn't see news on this, so they might have already done it and it may have been released. I didn't read anything, but I would be shocked if that's not the case here. Blackstone still in kind of trouble, but they're managing to be green as well. So then, of course, everybody's favorite, Silvergate, under a lot of pressure here again today. It was up. Well, I should say it's up today, but it was under pressure earlier. It's coming off the lows there, and that I think had a lot to do with the dump in Bitcoin last night. So if we look here last night, big liquidation here, dropped $1,000 points in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes here. So Bitcoin under pressure. We'll get to that in a second, but XLF under, getting a bounce here, but under pressure overall. Broker dealers getting a bounce as well. So a nice little retrace there. We'll take a look at this, see if it maybe wants to hit this trend line one more time here. But again, this is a big rising wedge here, big time rising wedge. Anyways, over to crude again, all over the map, big bid, up 2% on the day, but you can see where it was. Boom, huge V shape there. So ripping off the lows. Let's not make too much out of it just yet. They could easily reverse this next week. But again, the weekly level is up there, and we are not near that yet. XLE outside move, that's holding up as well. I don't have any opinion on that right now. They're holding up. XOP, same thing. And OIH still pushing higher. The longer this holds up, the more it probably wants to go to 350. So we'll give it the upside bias there. Natty. So big surge here, up 8.5, was up almost 9%. I think it was up 9% at one point. And now we're starting to see actual short squeezing. So, this kind of move here off the lows, I think it was contract rollover and buyers, like the liquidations finally ended. And now we're actually seeing short squeezing as we're going vertical here. This probably wants to get up to the 50 MA. I mean, everybody's going to be looking at that. There's a little bit more of a pivot around 310, 315, which I think we can get to Monday. But this is a little overbought right now on the short time frame. The reason it can get that way, though, and it wouldn't surprise me, I don't think this happens, but it wouldn't surprise me if we pierced that 50 moving average and went through it, because this ignored the technicals on the way down. In a normal asset, when you get stretched like this, you have a big, rubber band reaction, right? Well, nat gas isn't here. It's not here. It's not here. It's out there. That's how hard it was stretched. There was, you look on the weekly, this pivot didn't matter. The 200 moving average didn't matter. These pivots, this pivot, this breakout bar, this pivot, none of these mattered. We just crashed right through it. So when you get that stretched, guess what? You're going to come, that much harder in the opposite direction. So that's why, was able to blow through this area really without any pullback. But nice move there on nat gas. Is, might need to cool off a little bit, but it's holding up really well. And again, this is headed for $4. Won't go there in a straight line, but that's ultimately what I've got penciled in right now. Anyways, dollar index, again, kind of like yields. You have a flag pattern here on the dollar. Up move, sideways, more consolidation means it can get through this red bar high, and that's something the market is not really considering right now, as evidenced by the moves in bonds the last 2 days. But dollar index holding up well. This sits in the oven a little bit longer. This will get a bid. Gold here, obviously conversely, getting a nice bid along with the market here. You see the GLD, nice push all day long, up 1.15%, which is a big move for gold. We'll watch around the 1880 handle. You got the 50 MA. This is your breakdown. So that's probably where it's going to want to go. Let's take a little fib here as well. Yeah, you got your 382, 1875. And then right under 1900 is the 50%. So we'll watch those areas on the upside. Again, I do still think gold has another push lower. Silver in much weaker shape. Much less of a bounce, still not above that 224 breakdown high, and below that 20 moving average as well. So a little bit on the weaker side, as you can see, as opposed to gold, which just got above its 20 moving average, and it is well above that kind of breakdown area from the third or fourth week of February. But again, these are going lower. They will be buys soon. Not yet though. Platinum, nice pop, 2.3% gain. Again, this has been my favorite of the metals since really late summer. And it's held up really well. So what can you say? Maybe wants to go to 1,000. We talked about that a few weeks ago. It just kind of needed to do a little double bottom first, but I still have this going lower as well. This is just a bounce. It's a good one. I'll be watching it. Copper here, the weakest of the metals today, up just 4 basis points. I think this one wants to consolidate to go lower. Again, we're still looking for 375 there. That will be good support on the daily. All right, over to Bitcoin, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So remember we talked about this, so we have the big move, and then we had the micro inside bar that got negated with this close, and then that bar became an inside bar, a bearish inside bar, and it got a nice little dump here. And again, overnight, you can see just huge move in very short period of time, a little over 1,000 points on Bitcoin in like a half hour. And boom, continuation down. Take a look here, 25,000 down to 23, so about 2,000 points, and then you're at 24.2. So this might this could get down to 21.2, which would take you basically to double bottom there. But it really needs to hold this green bar low here on the daily, so that's 22.057, spot 1.8. If that gets closed below, this is going to probably avalanche here. On the weekly, it's a little bit more important, but on the weekly, it is 21,368. So a weekly close below that would be even worse. But for right now, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It's holding up. A little bit of a divergence here. Like Bitcoin lately has been outperforming the market, and lately it's I should say today now it's underperforming, and yesterday. So a little bit of weakness there. I don't know if it means anything, but we'll watch that there moving forward. You can almost make a case that, let's see if we can duplicate this. I don't remember. I don't use TradingView all that often. There we go, clone. Yeah, so you can make a case you have a little bit of a channel there that's kind of getting tagged right now. So we'll watch that. Going into the weekend, maybe they do one of those weekend sneak, when everybody's asleep, they, rip it higher or lower. But either way, Bitcoin under pressure, bottom line. All right, so spiders here, yeah, stalling out. Again, I didn't think they'd get through that 40-50 gamma wall. They did get through all the other ones, though, but there is a lot of premium at 40-50 on the 0 DTEs. So we probably stall out here. It's only about 25 minutes left. Markets are probably tired here. So nice rally. We'll watch it next week. I think we're walking into another risk period. Be very careful here. It's an impressive rally, but I think it's a bull trap. So we'll be careful. Anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll talk to you guys all next week.